GM, everyone. Sorry for the delay, and welcome to the 14th episode of The Hub, a Farcaster developer-focused podcast. I'm your host, Dillstick.eth, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Give me just like 30 seconds to send this link out everywhere, and then we are all good to go. All right. Almost there. Say GM if you're in the chat. Excited to have you here with me. All right, we have a lot to get through today in a short amount of time. First of all, just really appreciate everyone joining. Apologies for the delay today and also the past 2 weeks. You know, there was ETH Denver. I was starting a new role, all that sort of stuff. But there's been a lot of really exciting stuff going on, and I just want to get through all of it. So let's start without further ado. One from Varun, which is really exciting. You can see the ... here. And it is because of Snapchain. It looks like Snapchain is moving along pretty quickly. He's running it. Some other folks are running it. I forget who else, but someone else posted a link. One thing I'll note that I find cool is you can see here, it says snap_read. To me, that implies the presence of snap_write, which means that the new Snapchain is going to be broken up. I believe I had heard this. I hope it's going to be true still, into two different types of hubs or snap chains or nodes or however they're calling it, where you have these nodes that are read operators like this one that Varun is running, and then a very small number of write operators for actually signing and posting messages to the protocol. I think the good thing about the read operators is hopefully it's going to make it even easier for everyone to run that node locally, do stuff with it, have writes, potentially even cheaper than kind of the whatever setup they're using right now. So exciting to follow the progress here. Earn rewards for inviting users to Farcaster. So as I'm sure everyone is aware, Merkle has made some pretty exciting hires recently. To go over a couple, they hired Ted, needs no introduction. They hired Daniel and Linda from Bountycaster. They hired Woj from Supercast, Aquahire, I don't really know the right thing to say there. And they hired Sloke Kartik, who's built Nook, Anoncast, and a bunch of other really cool stuff. And I think with all of these folks now on their team, there are obviously some internal dev stuff, but there's also a lot more that they can do in terms of growth tactics, marketing, developer experience. I was talking a bit with Linda about things like the docs, but this is another great one of incentivizing users to invite others to Farcaster. And I think we're going to see a trend through some of the stuff, some of the links today, that there are a bunch of these new programs to get folks on Farcaster, get people building frames, get people interacting with frames. I'm sure you've seen Warpcast rewards, which have been doing really well. So I'm excited how much of this direction is being leaned into. But as a TLDR here, the top 50 inviters each week earn rewards. The points are based on the number and quality of the users. I guess that uses the Warpcast spam labels, filters, and reward pool is $1,000 distributed proportionally. So if you want to, you can invite folks. You can do that on web or mobile. Pretty sure there were also 2 free invites given out the other week to everyone. Another really exciting thing is Based House. So I had the pleasure of staying at Based House at ETH Denver last year. It was organized mainly by Luciano, Samuel Huber, and Rafi, and just grateful that they organized it. Grateful that we got support from Base, Jesse, and others, and also folks who helped us with the hackathon, such as Swan, Degen, and MBD, who put up the bounties. It was an amazing time. My quick personal overview is it was just a really nice group of people. Everyone was super warm, helped each other out with their code. We're talking through projects, and a couple folks in particular I saw maybe coming from newer backgrounds, pushing the limits for how much time they can put into coding, and that was just awesome. So seeing all of that, seeing all the events we had, everyone coming through the space, it really did just feel like a small little family, and it was awesome to me. It was a really great experience. I'm really glad I was able to stay at a house that Luciano organized. I know I've heard such great things about the experience that he creates, the vibe, and that is very intentional when he does these houses, and I certainly felt it. So huge props. If you ever want to come to one of these in the future, you should probably reach out to Luciano. He's going to continue organizing houses. And some more updates from the house. We had a great talk from Yassine at MBD, who was giving a masterclass on building feeds, and they launched some really cool stuff this week around personalized feeds for stuff that you can do on chain. But they also have a whole bunch of Farcaster feeds and an ML model that they have that powers all these feeds. And then we also had a great talk from the man, the myth, the legend, the unofficial Farcaster DevRel, Samuel Huber, who was going over building Farcaster frames and showing not only his slide, but also all of the docs that he has been masterfully building, crafting. And one other thing I wanted to call attention to with the hackathon actually is that everything is using Farhack, and that we updated the Farhack software. Once again, it does work as a V2 frame. It's probably a little bit harder for me to show it to you here, and I'm not exactly sure why it's loading. So let me see if I can get a cast really quickly, but really excited that we were able to do it all in a frame. So it was super easy for anyone who participated in the hackathon we were running at the house to just submit. So, as you can see right here, you open the frame, you get to the page for the hackathon, you can see all the bounties. You have your team page. It pops up a little modal where you put in the name and description, and then you're able to create your team, invite a teammate, all that directly within the frame. And in the future, especially as we're ramping up for Farhack in May, there are going to be even more updates, even better UX, better use of frames with things like notifications. You can be like, hey, someone invited you to a team. Hey, the deadline is coming up. Hey, this is a new bounty you should check out. So excited that we got the chance to do a little bit more there. Another fun one is Dan and also Dylan from Crypto the Game / Uniswap now had announced that the next, I guess, season 3 of Crypto the Game is going to be running in a V2 frame. And this just came out literally 15 minutes ago. So you can mint your NFT here. I'm going to do this right after we get off air and try it out. But really cool that folks are, again, leaning into V2 frames. Props to Dan and others for pushing teams to add it. I think it's just great distribution, and excited to see these success stories so that we have even more momentum for new folks to convert their apps to frames or build new frames altogether. And then another thing is the new leaderboard links. So as I was talking about earlier, the invites have a leaderboard. You can check the link out here. I haven't sent any invites yet. But then the other new leaderboard is for frames. So if you're a frame developer, the top 25 frames will earn some USDC. I forget how much it is. Like it's like 25. Okay, $1,000 reward pool split among the top 25 frames. So if you drove this percentage at like $100, it seems like you can get a solid amount. I'm trying to get my frames in there, but some good examples. Let me see. I forget where, but Dan had casted, some good things you should do are use notifications and have an on-chain element. And maybe there's some other stuff, but I think those are 2 really good starting points for how to do a little bit more with your frame. And as someone who has built a bunch of frames myself, that is definitely something I need to spend some time doing on the weekend, is upping I don't even want to say gamification, but just all the different Legos I could use to bring more retention to my frame. Adding on to this, there are these new ticker pages inside of Warpcast. If you put in like high or whatever, it will bring you there. You can trade it with your Warplet, swap it on mobile. Now you also have trending notifications, experimenting with, hey, your friends have bought this token in the past hour, etc. If you remember a year or 2 ago, Warpcast also had notifications for things like proposals and DAOs that were super helpful for Purple, for example. And this is obviously much more of a meta now. And so I'm excited they're leaning into this. And as always, just curious to see where it goes. But great times for Warpcast. I really like what they're doing and building. Another thing, so I was at ETH Denver. I was at this meetup. It was amazing, as always. Such great folks. They were really cool. Sections like the Farcade people were there. Moshi was there. I think maybe Poap was there. It was sponsored by Warpcast, Purple, and Splits, I believe. Sorry if I'm leaving somebody out. out there, it's definitely at least those three. And Ted, Ted is in this picture. Everyone gave her a really nice congrats for her new role. And Tim from Bracket gave a really nice speech. Shout out to him. And shout out as always to Graham McBain and Matthew, who organized this, who have organized the past 2 or 3 events. Really appreciative for them. Such nice guys who have gotten to know over the past couple of years, and takes a lot of work to do any sort of event, especially at ETH Denver. So again, props to them. And great to just see so many of you, meet new faces, talk with folks. It's always my highlight is, being with Farcaster people. It almost made me think, what if we had an ETH Denver, but for Farcaster folks? I don't know what that would look like. Well, we'll have to see. Okay, so another thing is now there are these green halos that show up for brand new users, adding on to the different marketing and retentive methods to just make Warpcast better. Is now when you are a new user, I'm pretty sure you see a green halo, similarly to how when you fund your Warplet, you see a purple halo, all just fun social signals. From Lamone, wanted to call more attention to this. If you're building a frame, you should apply to Just Frame It by March 16th. It is a 6-team build-a-thon. We will grow, ship, and find users with these great sponsors, Base, Purple, Warpcast, Splits. And if you know Lamone, he is a legend in the Farcaster developer ecosystem, a great builder. So I highly, highly recommend applying to this. Oh, another thing that I wanted to call attention to from Jacopo, so much has happened these past couple of weeks. It's actually kind of crazy. Jacopo announced AppCon, which is in Milan from April 7th to 13th, and it is an entire week dedicated to showcasing the top Ethereum apps and experiences to a non-crypto audience. Farcaster is the exclusive social network, and I believe that Farcaster Merkle is partnering in some way with this event. I don't really know what that looks like. I have to check my schedule. I'm really not sure if I can actually make this. If I can, I think it would be really sick. You should definitely try and go as well. But props to Jacopo, another great community member, and cool again that there's just like so much going on in the community right now. It feels like these past couple weeks in particular has been like half a year. All right, let's close it off with a couple more fun things. One from Phil. I said this, that would be cool to have amps.fun, but for trying out V2 frames, like if you could actually tell that they did try your frame, like a metric from the frame, for example. But if you don't know, amps.fun is a great product from Phil where you can essentially micro pay people to recast your cast. A lot of parts of it are great, and he's done some cool technical stuff so you can actually like do this in a V2 frame. So props Phil, who's again also building a lot of really cool stuff and scrappy with it and talking to users, and yeah, props to him. Another thing I wanted to call attention to, I think there's a cool, Winnie mentioned this, there's a cool opportunity for a V2 frame of like the location feature and kind of the casual, I'm in New York City for a month sort of thing. I think it's not showing, like you're not setting a status right now. You're not being like, I'm in New York and oh, by the way, I'm going to be here for a month. But I do think, and I say this a lot, all these opportunities where something isn't fully built into a client or a protocol, but enough of the data is there that you can do something with it, is a great place for you to build a V2 frame to really max out the idea capital or the limit of that idea. And if you can do it in a V2 frame with all of these retentive methods, then maybe you can push for something bigger, or then maybe a Warpcast would even get on their radar. But that's a great place to start. And I think someone should build something like this, even if it's just like add an off-chain status like message to when you're setting your location, and then have some social mechanism around which of my friends are in town for a month or something like that. And I did also see Matthew say something like, oh, I missed the friends map for seeing like which of my friends are at the airport for ETH Denver. So there is definitely some truth to like that data if you can like crack the social mechanism right. And then the final thing, I said it was going to be short today, is finding bounties. If you want to on tap, you can also still chat and you can still watch videos. It isn't something I've particularly updated that much recently, and I'm not sure why it's showing right now. Here we go. But yeah, you can still watch videos on here. It is showing you trending videos from Farcaster. You can chat with it. I guess I'm logged out right now, but that is all still up. We definitely appreciate if you engage with my frame, and I think it's still like a cool tool. So just shedding light on that a little bit, and I had posted about it with the Farhack stuff. And GM Crypto Sapiens, really great to have you here. Appreciate the comment. All right. Well, without further ado, that is the speed episode for this week. Sorry, this is a little bit shorter, and sorry I wasn't here last week. I just wanted to make sure that this week we get through all of the content because there's a lot of content, and the weeks following, I think we're going to have a little bit more guest content. So again, just wanted to make sure we get through everything here. There's some really exciting stuff. So just starting your Thursday off with an action pass, agenda. Thank you again to everyone for listening live, for listening to the recording. I hope you were able to find this overview helpful. I certainly find it helpful to sit here and talk through all this stuff, especially again, when these past couple weeks in particular, just been so much going on. So thanks again, everyone. Continue building. Let me know if I can help with anything, and have a great rest of your Thursday.